Hello, YouTube. Good morning. It's High Priestess Jamila. I am looking for my Roku TV remote, and I'm kind of frustrated. So I'm not going to be here long. I am not going to be here long. And because I've got to find that remote because I want to watch something and drink my coffee. I wanted to come and talk about the recent death of the paranormal, the quote unquote paranormal investigator. I don't even want to listen. That is the silliest thing to do for a living, in my humble opinion. I think that if you do not know what forces you are facing, you probably don't want to be playing around with the paranormal. But then again, in the world that we live in, where we have so many people that are constantly on a mission to cover up the truth, to be in denial, to harass the witches that that do believe and do help. This is how you end up with these kinds of disasters. So this dude, poor dude, he dies while touring with the damn Annabell doll. Oh my God. Like, that is not a coincidence. And I've already confirmed with my spirits that yes, that doll did kill him. Whatever embodies that doll is responsible for his death. They may find a medical explanation for his death, but just because they find a medical explanation doesn't mean that the doll was not the cause for whatever mishap medically that happened to him. So it's a real thing. It's a real curse, the Annabelle doll. It actually is really a cursed doll. And it's that doll is so evil that I regret ever watching the movie. Now, going forward, I don't, it's fine because you put up certain protections against stuff like that. That's just like if I think that we should be mindful of things like that. Like, for example, the cursed mummy that was on the Titanic when they bought the cursed mummy from Egypt over to the Americas. And so you have to be mindful to protect yourself from things like that. I have said it so many times that I do not agree with them going over there messing with a lot of those. They're not just artifacts, those things are deeply spiritually rooted, and some of them can be quite evil and have malevolent spirits in them. And so this is where you have to be careful when it comes to these scientists and these archaeologists that are digging and finding stuff and playing around with it. There was this movie that we were watching, and we decided to turn it off. We decided to turn it off because it was okay. It was about social media, and it was some kind of incantation challenge, death challenge that was going around in social media. And so I think that this movie showcased how people can be so ignorant. But these people just kept repeating this incantation to where they were challenging these dark spirits to kill them, like literally to take their lives. And so they just kept repeating this incantation, and it got disturbing. We was like, let's turn this off because I think that what was mainly disturbing to me was the ignorance and them constantly repeating this incantation. And it was just like, and then it didn't coincide with my spiritual beliefs. And so I didn't like it. So I just was like, yeah, let's not, no. And it did make me feel kind of weird. Um, and yes, I do believe that you need to already have protection put up if you're gonna be watching scary movies, especially these days. uh for some reason, but I mean any days, especially about this doll, that Annabelle doll. Now, I know that it was rumored that Ed and Lorraine Warren were frauds. They were not frauds. They were telling the truth about that doll. That doll is cursed, and that doll is very evil, and it does possess malevolent spirits. Now, I would never, like, honestly, oh my God, it is so freaking annoying. Just protect yourself from the doll. Spirit saw this coming. Hecate, all of the goddesses, Santa Martha, they saw this coming, this consistent ignorance, where people in this world take everything for granted. And we're actually being harmed by non-believers. Isn't that funny how in the Bible speaks of non-believers, of their God and their teachings, but people's non-belief in the paranormal and in the things that us witches talk about is hurting us more than anything also, because it's kind of like, okay, why would you be touching that doll? Those people put that doll, they locked it up, whatever it was that they did to lock that doll up. I think as long as you don't touch it and you don't engage with it. This dude was touching and engaging with that doll, and he died. Okay. I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm not coming down on dude. Rest in peace. He should have listened to Ed and Lorraine Warren. Okay. Now, I think that where it's just like with Miss Cleo, call me now. Just like with her, a lot of people didn't believe in Miss Cleo because she became very Hollywood and stuff. But I believe that Miss Cleo was a real psychic. But I think that she began to I believe that she began to like dabble into Hollywood occultism, which is totally different from the actual real occult, but it does and possess power, and I think that that is what gets people labeled as frauds, right? But Ed and Lorraine Warren was not frauds. They were telling the truth about that doll, which is why they kept that doll locked up. I don't know who decided it was a good idea to take that doll out of that cabinet. They need to take that doll, put that doll right back where they got her from. However, people are so ignorant that there's nobody to do it. I'd do it for about $50 million. Otherwise, I wouldn't touch it. I would do it for about $50 million. If they paid me $50 million, I would do it and I would survive it, and so would my loved ones. Okay. And they would have to pay me 50 million, 100 million. They'd have to pay me handsomely. Otherwise, I ain't touching it. But I would take it and put it back where it belongs and not play with it. You don't play with stuff like that. In fact, I'm not even trying to disrespect the doll. I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. Don't even be disrespectful with that doll. You show them spirits respect. They want to be heard. They want people to know the power in that doll and what possesses it. Okay. And they want you to know, and people that, first of all, my advice to paranormal investigators is that you need to get somebody that is a confirmed witch to assist you. I know that there's a lot of witches out there, they don't have the confidence to deal with stuff like that, which is understandable. We call them witchy babies. I don't call y'all baby witches, I just call y'all witchy babies. Y'all probably do possess the power, but you scared. They need to have a witch to assist them. Now, Lorraine Warren was not a witch. She was a Christian. Okay. But whatever Christian stuff that she did, which here's my whole thing about it, you can be cursed by watching that movie, Annabell. So you need to make sure you take care of yourself. And if you don't know the proper way of doing it, you can be cursed by watching that movie. And I listen, how many times have I been cursed? I've been cursed about 3,000 times. As a witch, I don't have to deny that. Like, it's people act like it's a shame to be cursed. No, I know how to remove curses very quickly. I can remove a curse in less than 5 minutes. The effects of it, however, that may take a little bit longer, maybe a couple of days, a few hours or whatever, but I can remove a curse within minutes. Okay. I was cursed by watching that movie. My family was cursed by watching that movie. Of course, I removed it. Of course, I reversed it. But it's just the point that they did not, they, again, her being Christian takes it for granted. And I love Ed and Lorraine Warren. I don't care what bad things people say about them. I just like them. Okay. It may have something to do with the chick that played Lorraine, and I like both actors in the movies that played Ed and Lorraine Warren. Especially the actress that plays Lorraine Warren. I think she's cool. She was also in what's the name of that movie, The Orphan. And I've always liked her art. I like her acting. I like how she's a good actress. But the actual original characters, like, there's been times where I have sat and looked at documentaries on Ed and Lorraine Warren. I think that they're pretty cool people. I just think that being Christian can make you really take that for granted. And so, because as a witch, I would have never sold that story to Hollywood for no amount of money. I wouldn't have done it, because what they did was they pretty much unleashed a curse. Now, I think that you can have an experience bad luck just by looking at the movies and not being aware and not having proper protection. But I also think that if you touch that doll and you're literally touring with the doll, what is wrong with you? Like, literally, that doll is saying, "Don't touch me, don't play with me, don't play with me and fuck around and find out." Okay, that's what that doll was saying when it killed that dude. I know he was older. People, 54 is not old. That's not old, especially to the demons and spirits that inhabit that doll, which are probably thousands of years old. They need to put that doll back where it belongs, put all the spirits back where it belongs, but they don't want to listen to the witches. It's ridiculous. And they're not going to listen to me. What I want to know is the location of the doll. I want to know where the doll is located. It's so sad because wherever the doll is located, all of those people within a certain range are in danger. That doll is not that a and I know a lot of people, like, quit being in denial, man. You in denial. That doll is very real. The curse, the bad spirits that are in that doll is very real. And that dude shouldn't have been playing around with it. I want to say this to all paranormal investigators. You need to educate yourself about what you're dealing with. Okay? Yes, I can attest for the power of Jesus. Not all the time though. There are some cases where there needs to be a witch, especially a woman, especially a woman. Okay? It needs to be a witch, but especially a witch that is strong and powerful. Okay, let's take for example that movie called The Deliverance. I didn't like that movie. I've been meaning to come and do a review on that movie. I didn't like that movie. I'm gonna tell you why. It was a stupid movie. It was very contradictory. Showcased the total and utter ignorance of people when dealing with malevolent spirits. It just irritated me. It was very irritating. It irritated my spirit. And one of the reasons, oh my God, wow, more dumbing down of the masses. So in the movie, right, the chick says, I don't need an intercessor, but Jesus is my intercessor. Whoa. So you're saying that you don't need an intercessor, but Jesus is your intercessor? That make sense? You just said you didn't need an intercessor. So I caught that, right? But then also when that black chick died trying to help the other chick, she tells her it's because I got scared why it got me. What? Girl, I can tell you that as a witch, I have been fucking afraid. Fear is not going to make a demon kill you. And then I don't like the way they tried to make it seem like it was Satan at the end of the movie. But then again, if you're talking about Satan versus Satanus, which Satanus is an actual deity, Satan is more so, I think Satan kind of represents your individual beliefs and connection with spirit. Okay, but Satanus is actually the deity. And but of course in the movie they were trying to say that it was Satan, and it was just really weird, and I just was like irritated. It's almost like they want you to be dumbed down, and that's stupid to be dumbed down. And then what they do is they gang stalk witches. Like, what the fuck? Like, really it's annoying. It's annoying. Okay, not every witch got gang stalks, but I know that I've been gang stalked since before I even came on YouTube. So I don't want to hear nobody saying that I'm talking about them. Okay, please don't say that I'm talking about you. Please don't. That's the most irritating thing. I ain't talking about nobody. What I'm talking about is very real. If you don't know how to remove curses and you watch that movie, you need to learn. You need to learn. If you are too cheap to go to somebody that can help you, if you've gotten a replica, Spirit is telling me that if you have a replica of the Annabelle doll in your house, that you need to do something about it. Even if you have a replica of that doll. I've always personally been kind of freaked out or creeped out by Raggedy Ann dolls. But you know, it's and but here's the thing about dolls. Dolls are very, very connected to the occult and the paranormal. Any doll that you have in your house can become possessed if there's spirits in your house. Okay. And especially if you don't have the doll blessed and consecrated to do a certain thing. I just think it's ridiculous the way people are so flim flam when it comes to stuff like that. And that dude's death says it all. No, and then also a lot of the ignorance is going to lead to people being afraid to deal with the shit, and being afraid of it and avoiding it is not going to help you. Now all of a sudden people are going to be afraid instead of dealing with it, and that's stupid still, because those spirits are going to affect you whether or not you're afraid, whether or not you avoid it, whether or not you take some kind of medication, a psychotropic drug to ignore your intuition about it. You're still going to deal with it. And unless your grandma or your mama, or maybe I'd say a witch in your family blessed you up to 3 generations ago, you can have some problems, some serious problems. Like, I'm talking about serious. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about the other shit. I'm talking about some serious issues. You know what I'm saying? Like very, very serious, like sickness, disease, near death, anxiety, you know, to the point where there are very bad mental illnesses and afflictions and sicknesses. If the foundation was not set for your bloodline at least 3 generations ago, at least. It was a senseless thing. Like, what was the point? What were you trying to prove, that the doll was not real? It's no different than somebody that takes a hit of hard drugs thinking that they can't get addicted. It's no difference. People being cocky. Now, I'm interested in seeing footage of him with the doll to kind of see his mannerisms, because if he was not showing respect to that doll, that's why Ed and Lorraine Warren put the doll in a glass case, prop the doll up. They didn't try to destroy the doll. Don't try to destroy the doll. That they're going to try to destroy that doll. Watch. They're going to try to burn it and set it on fire. Some crazy. Oh my God. Idiots, idiots everywhere. I swear, I'm sorry. I can't, I can't with when I first heard about that, I said, what the hell was he doing with that doll? Everybody knows that that doll is fucking possessed. Everybody that's came in contact with the Annabelle doll knows it is possessed. That's why they fucking called Ed and Lorraine Warren. And that is a true story. No, instead, what we want to do is go around uh being renegades against witches. Not we, people want to go around saying, don't trust them witches. That, do you know that places can be cursed? Objects can be cursed, and they're not just cursed by a witch. It can be cursed by just a person. You don't have to be a witch to curse something. I believe you have to be a witch to remove a curse. But I don't believe that you have to be a witch to curse something. You don't. Okay. So, people need to stop being ignorant. It just it's irritating. Like, I have a zero tolerance for ignorance. And I'm not talking about that dude that died. I'm not disrespecting him. I'm saying, like, if you look at like most real occultists that know, we know that doll is cursed. We know that. And there was grave concern when we found out that they are literally dragging the doll all over the United States. The hell is wrong with y'all? Stop. I ain't touching that doll for less than 100 million. And I mean that, because they do too much. They do too much. They do. So I'm going to be tracking the Annabelle doll to see where she's at. But the gender, there's the doll is basically a portal or a gateway for spirits to come through with any spirit. So it's not just a female spirit, female spirits, it's male spirits too. And it's male, it's spirits that are genderless. There are spirits that don't have a gender. They're not necessarily male or female. So anywho, I'll be tracking it and just keeping track of what they do with it. Whatever they do with it. Here's another thing. Okay, I understand that people like their crucifixes. Crucifixes are only to be used during ritual. Why are you wearing them? Why are you wearing them? If you're going to wear some kind of jewelry, it should be a seal of protection. It should not be a crucifix. If the Devil's Punch Bowl over there, I think it's over in Canada or close to Canada somewhere, they literally have a crucifix, a big lit up crucifix over that whole area. Basically, just inviting them spirits in. That's what a crucifix is. It is designed to open portals. That's the reason why when you look at an ankh, it has a circle at the top of it. Because what does an ankh do? An ankh or ankh stops malevolency from coming through. So that's why it's a crucifix with a circle at the top. So a crucifix is doing nothing but opening you up. It's not protection. You need an ankh for protection. A crucifix is not protection. Basically, what a crucifix does, anytime, and see this right here. I'm gonna tell you something. I use alchemy symbols and stuff with my workings. If you notice the Venus sign, it looks similar, very similar to an ankh. It has a circle at the top. Okay, that is the divine feminine. That is the divine, that is the essence of the witches, the woman, the wisdom, the intuition, the understanding, the inner knowledge. Okay? So you just get a crucifix and look at the way it's shaped. It's a cross. It's a line with another line going across it. That is going to open up portals. Many people don't understand that. Okay, now I know that what I do understand the power of the mind and how what you believe makes it real. However, I have seen people with very powerful minds, trust me, still for some reason they're wearing a crucifix and they're becoming possessed. That people that wear crucifixes become possessed more than anybody in this world, and that's what that doll does, is it possesses people. So I don't understand, and then you also need to be protected. There's certain things that you need if you're going to be using a crucifix. Yeah, you can use a crucifix because the crucifix does not necessarily belong to the church. That symbol has been around since forever. It's basically an opening. It's a doorway. And you need to know that you have to control what comes through that gateway. You can't just say, oh, and that's why I was saying people need to understand that. Now, I always use a pentagram. I love my pentacles and my pentagrams because that's why. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to get into that. It would take me at least a few hours to break down a pentacle. And I'm not going to be here that long because I'm getting ready to go get me some coffee. But I would prefer people to, but people, when they see that, they say, oh, it's the devil, because we have literally been going through a modern day satanic panic, which come wake up. So like people see that symbol, and the pentacle is a very powerful, very protective symbol. The makes it very powerful. Okay, very, very spiritual, very connected to the divine. Can be used to set any intention that you need. Okay, whether or not it's for protection, cleansing, grounding, healing. Okay. Um, and people are afraid of it. They say that it's the devil and it's evil. Uh, but you running around here with a cross. What do you think? What do you think that is? That is literally a ritual rite that people need to understand. If you don't understand the occult, you don't understand anything. You don't know nothing if you don't understand the occult and occult practices. Okay. So anywho, uh, that's pretty much it, y'all. And I'll be keeping track of it, and I'll probably make another video about it, as far as like what they're gonna plan on doing with it. And you know what they'll do? They'll say, "Oh, it was just a coincidence, and there wasn't a doll, and it was the he died of this and that." Of course they're gonna find a medical explanation. Of course they're gonna find it, but that doesn't mean that the damn. I mean, hell, let me tell y'all something. My great grandma, my big mama had an enlarged heart. She lived until she was in her late 80s with an enlarged heart, and she didn't never take no meds. She didn't never take her medication for that enlarged heart. She said, "But they said I got an enlarged heart. I ain't taking that medication." And she lived into her late 80s. She probably would have lived longer than that had I been there. But my big mama died in her late 80s. Okay. So yeah, we could go to a doctor and find something medically wrong with us. That doesn't mean that we're gonna die. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't mean that that's going to kill us, because at the end of the day, your relationship with death is personal. Okay. But they're gonna find a medical explanation, but that doesn't mean that that doll was directly responsible for that man's life force ceasing. Okay. So that's just like this is my preliminary discussion about it. Y'all need to immediately do protection for yourself. If you work with Santa Martha, you good. But she's still going to encourage you to do something. She's going to encourage you to do something for protection, because again, as we know, as witches, just going around carrying a symbol does not replace actually doing the real work. Okay. And the real work does not necessarily have to be bulky items and all kinds of stuff. There's certain things, you don't have to become a spiritual hoarder. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to like have a bunch of different stuff, because it's a lot out there that you need to protect yourself from. But there's certain things that you need to do. Okay. So she'll let you know when it's time. Okay. So I would say anybody that has watched those movies, the Annabell franchise, or if you have gotten some kind of replica of that doll. Okay, because I've seen Raggedy Ann dolls, and not too many of them. That doll looks very different actually from a Raggedy Ann doll, to be honest with you, because when I was a kid, I actually had a Raggedy Ann doll. And Raggedy Ann looked way different than that doll. That doll looked like something different, but it looks like a different version of Raggedy Ann. But I would definitely, you know, protect myself, even unhex or uncross yourself, unhex yourself, okay, from that energy. And well, it's the same thing with that movie Poltergeist. You know, that particular movie was cursed, and a lot of people that watched that movie got cursed. You know, being cursed is not the end of the world. Okay, it's not like, oh my God, okay, you need to do something about it, but it's not like it's the end of you know, you know what I'm saying? Just, I'd say being cursed ain't as bad as being possessed. As possession is a whole other thing, but it's very similar. It depends on how your spirits and your ancestors are protecting you. But what in the hell? I see where he say something about that. Too many people waste too much time doing silly shit. Hold on, y'all. Been looking for my damn remote for too long, man. Where is my remote? I gotta find my remote, y'all. This is really irritating to me. I cannot find it for some reason. It has left the building. And I know I had it. Hmm. Interesting. I bet you somebody might be laying on top of it or something. So anywho, it was something I was gonna say about that, but it's all good. I ain't gotta say no more. Y'all have a good day. I'll be giving updates on this situation. So I'll catch y'all at another time. Okay. All right. Blessings to y'all. Bye bye.